Photography isn't the only way to capture the world, but it is one of the most effective. Look at the latest social media feed, news station, magazine articles, book covers to see it. Photographs have power. Now, if you want to harness that power, learn to take the best possible photos, welcome to this visual arts class on photography. I'm Joseph, and I hope this class will explain the basic concept you need to know about photography from start to finish. Now, I know what you're thinking. Many people today like learning photography online, which is a great tool to search through large amounts of information and carry a reference in your pocket. But as good as the internet is for answering questions, it's not always geared towards studying large amounts of information from start to finish. Now let's get started. So what is photography? Photography is the art of capturing light with a camera, usually via digital sensor or film, to create an image. With the right camera equipment, you can actually photograph wavelengths light invisible to the human eye, including UV, infrared, and radio. A quick history lesson. Depending on where you get your sources from, the first photograph was captured in 1826 by Joseph, this guy, in France. It shows a roof of a building lit by the sun. Color photography became popular and accessible with the release of Eastman Kodak Kodachrome, a film developed in the 1930s. Before that, almost all photos were monochromatic, meaning black or white. Although a handful of photographers used specialized techniques to capture color images decades before. You'll find some of these interesting, fascinating galleries of photos from the 1800s to 1900s in full color. It's worth exploring if you haven't seen them already, so check out the link below. So what camera do I need for photography? To be honest, camera gear is not that important. There are countless cameras, lenses, and other accessories on the market today. And yes, it's true, some are better than others or better suited for the given job. But once you've tested enough of them, the real takeaway is that pretty much everything on the market today is great. The difference is very minor, and especially at a given price. So use the camera you already have and don't look back. In almost every way, today's entry-level digital cameras are better than the top-line film camera they ever were. Yet somehow those film cameras manage to capture beautiful, iconic photos that still look great today. Much more important are your creative skills and knowledge of camera settings. Focus on those efforts, not on collecting camera equipment. Now think about this. When Apple became the world's first trillion-dollar company in 2018, it's mainly because of the iPhone and what it replaced. Alarm clocks, flashlights, calculator, MP3 players, cell phone, GPS, audio recorders, and the camera. Many people today believe that their phone is good enough for most photography, and they have no need to buy a separate camera. And you know what? They're not wrong. For most people out there, the dedicated camera is overkill. Phones are better than dedicated cameras for most people's needs. They're quicker, easier to use, not to mention seamless integration with social media. It only makes sense to get a dedicated camera if your phone isn't good enough for the photos you want, like photographing sports, low light environments, or especially if you're interested in photography as a hobby. This advice, which may sound crazy coming from a photographer, but it's true. If you have any camera at all, especially a smartphone, you have what you need in order to take great photos. And if you have more like an advanced camera, DSLR, mirrorless, even better. What other gear and accessories do I need? For this class, you only need a camera app on your phone and post-processing software, which is optional. So, if you want to purchase a dedicated camera rather than using a phone, pick one with an interchangeable lens like this. So you can try out different types of photography more easily. Read reviews, but don't obsess over them because everything available today is pretty much equally good. Find a nice deal and move on. For post-processing software, one way or another, you're going to need to edit your photo. It's okay to start with the software you already have on your computer or phone, but in the long run, a dedicated program will do a better job. Head over to your mobile app store, download any free or paid app of your choice. There are tons of options. Whatever you pick, stick with it and learn it quite well. Don't worry, we'll cover this on another video. Remember, photography is supposed to be fun. Even professional photographers choose this career because they enjoy photography. Don't let that spark die out. It's also not about taking photography too seriously or get caught up in the camera equipment and the expense of photography itself. I see a lot of people online get heated debates about their choice of camera brand or good, bad, opinionated review that they see from someone else. Who cares? All this contributing to exactly what you're trying to avoid, making photography just another annoyance in your life, not just a source of happiness or joy. Instead, think about why you're taking pictures. It's meaningful. It's a way to see amazing sights and meet brilliant creative people. No surprise, the best photographers I know are the ones who have the most fun with it. Practice, practice, practice. It's a tip that will get you ahead of any skill, not just photography. Cameras are also complicated, so is processing software, and maybe especially the creative side of photography. The more you experiment, the more you take photos, the better photos you will be. It's not just about the quality either, it's also about the quantity. You'll find that later tips that photo shoots and almost always have winners than your earlier attempts. It's not to say that your early photos are always going to be bad. The famous Henry Carter Bresson, this guy, says, your first 10,000 photos are going to be your worst. Yes, it's a bit overdramatic, but I have to admit, there is some truth to it. You can take great photos when you're starting out, but it requires some luck and continue to get better as you take more photos. In short, the more time you spend on photography, the easier it will be to take the photos you have in mind. That's the end goal in all this, translating the image in your head and the emotion that you feel into a photograph that makes people understand and experience the same thing. For today's homework, share with us your favorite photo that you ever took and explain why. And on that note, see you in the next class.